Hello guys, very welcome back. In this video we'll learn about what is public-private partnership, right? And after all, why government goes for public-private partnership? Why doesn't government go it solo? Okay. So first of all, what is public-private partnership? It's a long-term contract. By long-term we mean 2 to 40 years between government and private sector, aiming for provision of public goods. What is provision of public goods? First, provisioning means that you are providing something so that someone can use it. Okay, that means provisioning. Now public goods, so public goods are two. First is the public assets like roads, parks, etc. And second is public services like health, education, transportation, bus service, rail service, etc. So that what public goods are. Next, we'll see what is the multiplier effect in investment in infrastructure on GDP. Now, multiplier effect means that rupees 1 investment in infrastructure increases the GDP to more than rupees 1, and sometimes by rupees 3 or rupees 4. Okay, so this is what it means, that investment equals to reaping benefits, that is in form of increase of GDP. Okay, for example, when you make roads, then more buses are needed to run it. Okay, when more buses are needed, your industries are created to cater to the needs. People start traveling. When people start traveling, there are more shops. There are bus repair shops. There are restaurants, right? So everyone's production is then added. This is how the rupees 1 gets multiplied. So this is known as multiplier effect in investment in infrastructure on GDP, right? Now the thing is, rupees 1 investment in infrastructure. Now who is going to invest this rupees 1? Okay. Now if government is going to fund, for example, in making road, there are two options: either to go for revenue, that is the government savings, or to get the money from the people. Now if government uses revenue, that is the savings, then other demands would be affected, and many times it will get failed. Other demands like other projects, like government is running projects of sending people to the moon. Government is running projects like Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. So there are thousands of projects running at a parallel time. So government can't use all its revenue to the one of the projects. Okay. Other option is increasing the tax and taking the money from the people in order to make the road. But when the taxes are increased, people tend to vote out the government. So tax increase is not an option for the government. Now the only option is government takes help from the private sector. This is where private sector helps in investing rupee 1. Okay. So the next question arises. So is PPP, that is public-private partnership, is it like privatization? No, not at all. PPP, first of all, privatization is profit motive. Understanding? PPP is not profit motive. Making roads, providing education. Okay, this is for welfare. This is not profit motive. Privatization involves high prices, dynamic prices, as you may have seen in services like airlines. Okay, dynamic pricing, and sometimes discrimination based on economics, based on finance. Okay, for example, in hotel industry, discrimination based on your income. But in government, there is prices are relatively and always most of the time low as compared to the private sector, and same for all, no discrimination. So there is affordability and accessibility factor taken into the account. Okay, so PPP is not privatization. Now the question arises, what government achieves partnering the private sector. The first thing is value addition, right? Now, if government wants the road to be made in, for example, in Cherrapunji, which is one of the places on earth with highest rainfall, now the private sector will enter and it will give features which will make the roads which are not so vulnerable to the water stagnation. Okay, so this is value addition. It will give features, it will give more features. Okay, what a government agency can give. The next is quality. It is generally seen that the quality of private sector is much better than the quality of the government. Okay, for example, you can see in the airline industry, see the services of the Air India, where compared to the services of any other private airline, Indigo, Jet, etc. Okay, and so many examples, Geo versus BSNL. Okay, moreover, government also gets informed about the new technology. Private players give quality because they constantly improve the technology, and hence technology is the next achievement what government partners, because right, technology, because private, as already told, private sector constantly improves its technology and hence it delivers quality. Because if private sector doesn't constantly improve its technology, it won't undergo efficiency in its work. Okay, and hence it will be replaced out, right? So because it achieves efficiency, hence our next point is cost. Okay, the cost of the private PPP mode is significantly less, that too in constrained time, right? And finally, operation and maintenance. The problem with the government is that it has a limitation in manpower and technology, hence it can't operate and maintain the infrastructure, and hence there comes the role of the private partners, operation and O&M, right? Next, we'll study about what are the different models of the public-private partnership, right? Next video. Thank you.